Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great today. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found your way to this video because it's packed with super important and exciting news that could mean some extra cash in your pocket. That's right, we're talking about a new round of stimulus checks coming your way, and they could be worth up to $18. Yes, you heard that correctly, $18. Now, before you get too excited, let's break down all the details you need to know, including who's eligible, when you can expect the money to hit your account, and how you can track your payments so you don't miss out on any of it. This video is going to cover everything, so grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive in. So, first things first, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is this $1,800 stimulus check all about, and how is it different from the ones we received before? Well, the short answer is that it's part of the government's ongoing efforts to provide financial relief during these tough economic times. As you might recall, in the past, the government issued a few rounds of stimulus payments to help Americans weather the storm during the pandemic. And now, there's a new round coming, and it could be up to $18 for those who qualify. The payment amount varies depending on your income, filing status, and other factors, but for many individuals, this will be a nice little boost to their financial situation. The key thing to keep in mind is that this is not going to be a paper check that you have to wait weeks for in the mail. No, this round of stimulus payments is primarily being sent via direct deposit, which means that if you've already set up direct deposit with the IRS in the past, you could see the funds hit your bank account very soon. For some people, it could even be as soon as next week. The government has already started processing these payments, and they've said that the majority of direct deposit payments should be issued between January 15th and January 30th. So if you're someone who typically gets a direct deposit, be on the lookout. The last thing you want is to be caught off guard and miss the deposit just because you weren't keeping track of your account activity. Now, let's talk about eligibility. You're probably wondering whether you're going to get the full $1,800, or if your payment might be smaller or even non-existent. The truth is, not everyone will qualify for the full payment, and eligibility depends on a few factors like your income, filing status, and whether or not you have dependents. For instance, if you're a single filer and your adjusted gross income, AGI, is below $75,000, you're eligible for the full $1,800. But if you're making more than that, the payment gradually decreases, and if you make above a certain threshold, you may not receive any payment at all. The income limits are $75,000 for single filers, $112,500 for heads of household, and $150,000 for married couples filing jointly. So, if you've been filing your taxes and making under these amounts, there's a good chance you're going to see a payment come your way. If you're a married couple filing jointly, the amount you receive can also be higher. For married couples, it's possible to qualify for $1,800 or more, depending on whether you have any dependents. Speaking of dependents, if you've got kids under the age of 17, you may also be eligible for additional payments. These dependents can add up to $600 per child. So, if you've got a few kids, this could really boost the amount you're getting. However, it's important to note that these payments are only going to be available to those who meet specific criteria outlined by the IRS, and they'll be distributed directly into the bank accounts of those who have their banking details on file with the IRS. If you receive Social Security benefits, whether it's SSDI or SSI, or you're a veteran receiving VA benefits, you could still be eligible for the stimulus payment as well. However, you'll want to double-check whether your information is updated and correct with the IRS, as different programs might have different rules for processing the payments. Now, with all that in mind, you're probably wondering, when should I expect this payment? Well, this is where things get a little tricky. The IRS has been working around the clock to process these payments and ensure they're sent out to the right people as quickly as possible. The first wave of payments is expected to be sent out starting the middle of January, with most people receiving them between January 15th and January 30th. But keep in mind, not everyone will get their payment at the same time. Some people might see their funds earlier than others, and some may experience a bit of a delay. If you're worried about when your payment will arrive, there's a super helpful tool on the IRS website called the Get My Payment tool. This tool allows you to track the status of your payment, see when it was issued, and confirm whether it was sent to your bank account or if they sent it via a check in the mail. If you haven't set up direct deposit before, you may have to wait for a paper check to be mailed to your home. However, if the IRS already has your direct deposit information from previous stimulus payments or your tax return, they will deposit it directly into your account. If you don't see your payment hit your account by the end of January, don't panic. There could be a few reasons for the delay, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not eligible. Sometimes the IRS takes a little longer to process payments, especially if they need to verify additional information. If your payment is delayed, check the IRS Get My Payment tool for updates, or you can always contact them directly for assistance. So, what should you do if you don't see the stimulus check in your account when expected? First of all, check that your bank information is up to date in the IRS records. You can do this by logging into your IRS account or checking the tax documents from the previous year. If everything looks good and you still haven't received your payment, there are a few things you can do. If you don't receive the payment after a few weeks or if there's an issue with the direct deposit, you may be eligible to claim your payment as a recovery rebate credit when you file your taxes for the year. This is especially true for those who didn't receive the full amount of previous stimulus payments. So, make sure to keep an eye on your tax filing deadline and be proactive if your payment is delayed or hasn't been processed. Okay, so now that we've got the how and when out of the way, let's talk about what you can do with this money once it arrives in your bank account. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, $1,800 could go a long way for me. But before you rush off to spend it, here are a few things to consider. First and foremost, if you've got some debt hanging over your head, whether it's credit card debt, a car loan, or something else, this could be a great opportunity to pay it down. Getting rid of high-interest debt can save you money in the long run, and it can help ease the burden on your finances. On the other hand, if your financial situation is more stable, consider using that money to boost your savings or even invest it. Setting up an emergency fund is another great way to use this money. You never know when unexpected expenses will arise, and having a cushion to fall back on can provide peace of mind. Of course, if you're in a position where you've already covered your bases and you'd like to treat yourself a bit, there's nothing wrong with spending it on something that brings you joy, but just make sure it's something that's going to add value to your life in the long term. So, there you have it, everything you need to know about the upcoming $1,800 direct deposit stimulus payment. Keep an eye on your bank accounts, mark your calendars for that mid-January time frame, and track your payment through the IRS Get My Payment tool. Make sure your bank details are up to date, and don't panic if there's a slight delay. It's likely that the IRS is processing everything in waves. And as always, if you have any questions or if anything is unclear, drop them in the comments below. I'm here to help. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more important updates like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.